Yes, he speaks the truth. We remember it well, said one of his friends. What could I do? I had to borrow money while we built it again. But who could I borrow it from? I don't have rich friends. I had to go to the fairy folk. They are the only ones with gold to spare around here. Benedict scoffed. We don't believe fairies share their gold, he said. You are right. They don't give it away. They demand that I return twice what they lent me. That's their terms. And seeing as I can't pay, they threaten to take my dear daughter. As he said this, tears welled up in his eyes. The very night that your young noble came to my humble inn, the fairy queen came to take Titha. I begged her majesty, no, not her, do not take Titha. I love my child more than my own life. Take me instead. For a long time, the queen insisted on taking Titha to the land of the fairies, but after I begged and begged, she relented and took me instead. A fine story, said Benedict, but it does not explain how you came to join the robbers. I, and all the men who attacked you, were prisoners of the fairies. They force us to rob travelers to repay our debts to them. We have no choice. They use magic to make us commit these crimes. Benedict looked at his younger brothers and sister. Do you believe this fairy tale? Yes, said Ellen. He seems like a good man to me. I've never heard such nonsense in my life, said Edmund. Benedict turned to Roland. And what do you say, young brother? It sounds like a made-up excuse, he said. But anything is possible. After all, so many strange things have happened in this world recently. A true knight does not need petty revenge. Let's leave in the morning. This man can answer to God if he is not telling the truth. And so, they let the inn's cook prepare the game they had caught, and after eating an excellent meal, they retired to bed for one last night under the roof of the inn. We'll continue the story in just over half a minute's time, but first our writer, Bertie, is here to tell us about some modern magic called artificial intelligence. So, Bertie, do you think artificial intelligence could write better stories than yours? Well, that's not for me to say. But I do know that our sponsor, Storybird.ai, can write and read a story that's tailored to you. You can give it your name and 3 things you are interested in, and it will come up with an original story and read it out loud. It's fun. So, ask your parents to please go to Storybird.ai. Kids with the best stories can even win $1,000. So, go to Storybird.ai to create your own podcast story. That's Storybird.ai. Remember Storybird? It lets you get stories just for you. They rose early in the morning just as the cockerel was crowing. The boys saddled up the horses. Ellen wanted to wish goodbye to Titha. She knocked softly on her door, but there was no reply. When she could not find her in the kitchen, she returned to Titha's room and pushed the door open. Inside, her friend's bed was empty, and on the pillow lay a green sprig of clover with 4 leaves. Ellen picked up the clover and ran to the innkeeper's room on the ground floor. Titha's father was sitting on the bed. I had a bad dream. I feel something is wrong, he said. Titha is not in her room. I found this on her pillow, reported Ellen. She unfolded her fingers and showed the clover to Titha's father. My terrible dream has come to pass, he said. The fairies have taken Titha. The 4 children of King Arthur and Queen Guinevere gathered in the stable to decide what to do. Roland said, We have enough gold. We can repay the innkeeper's debt to release Titha from the fairies. But Edmund, the middle brother, held out his hands and said, Don't you see? This is an obvious trick. Titha has probably gone to stay with a relative. They concocted the whole story to deceive us into giving them gold. No, insisted Ellen. I'm certain Titha would never be party to a dirty trick like that. She is like a sister to me now." "I think Edmund is right," said the eldest brother, Benedict. "We must not give them gold. It's a trick." Ellen, her eyes full of tears, said, "Roland, you won't let the fairies keep Titha, will you?" "I have more than enough gold coins," said Roland, "but I won't hand any over to the innkeeper. I shall go to the woods and exchange the gold for Titha myself. That way I shall find out if the whole story is true or just a wicked lie." "Oh, Roland, thank you. At least you are a true knight," said Ellen, and then turning to her other two brothers, "You will go with him to protect him, won't you?" "No," said Benedict. "I'm the eldest, and I have warned all along against this foolish trick that we have been falling into. If Roland believes these incredible stories, that is up to him. But I give my order that he cannot take Excalibur with him. It is our father's sword and the symbol of his kingship. It belongs to all of us. He has no right to lose it through his stupidity when he falls into an ambush by robbers or fairies or both." "That's right," agreed Edmund. "This is an obvious trick. You will be ambushed. They won't repeat their last mistake. This time they will come in greater numbers, and you won't be able to fight them off, and you will lose, not just the gold, but the sword that belongs to all of us. So, young brother, go if you wish, but Excalibur stays with us," said Benedict. "All right," said Roland, unbuckling Excalibur and handing it to Benedict. "Give me your sword. You can look after Excalibur while I am away, but I want it back as soon as I return." Roland needed the innkeeper to show him the location of the fairy circle in the woods. He set up a horse and cart to make it easier for the innkeeper to travel. They set out in the late afternoon. As they were rattling down the lane, Ellen ran out of the inn and jumped up onto the cart. "I'm coming too," she insisted. They drove into the woods until they could go no further. They tied the horse to a thorn tree and walked along a path. As the trees grew thicker and thicker, Roland could not help wondering if they were being led into a trap. It was growing dark. How would they ever find the way out? Eventually, they came to a clearing where a ring of white flowers was like little lights, forming a magical circle. They sat down on a tree log. "What are we waiting here for?" asked Ellen. "You'll see in due course," said the innkeeper. The air was growing cooler. Ellen shivered. "I feel like we are being watched," she whispered. "I think I can hear footsteps in the woods," said Roland. "Just wait, you will hear music next," said the innkeeper. And he was right.